There's another world beneath the surface. Magic and mad science. Cults and conspiracies. Gods and monsters. My name is Malaika Alice Malter, and I've taken it upon myself to study these phenomena because it's the only way I can change my fate. And it beats having to get a real job. Chapter 1. The Wolf, the Witch, and the Audacity of this bitch. Speaking as something of an expert on international travel, I feel qualified to make this statement. Russia is very, very big. I love a good long motorcycle ride as much as anybody, but after 4 hours of navigating the Siberian backroads, I was pretty much done with having legs. It wasn't as cold as I'd been led to believe, but my face was still numb from the wind. Finally, I saw it. A column of smoke floating out of the trees with a slight unnatural shine like a subtle aurora borealis. My lead had panned out. I turned down a rocky trail off the main road. After a few minutes, I pulled up in front of one of the strangest houses I've ever seen. It was more of a shack than anything, seemingly only large enough for one room, but it stood about 10 feet off the ground on 2 massive chicken legs. I'd heard of this house before, of course, but it was still utterly bizarre to see it with my own eyes. As I got off the bike, the house's legs bent, crouching down to my level. With a fell creak, the door opened and out she stepped. The Baba freaking Yaga. She was an old woman with gray, wrinkled skin that made her look more like an elephant than a human. Her golden eyes glowed, but noticeably in different hues from each other. Her other features were also asymmetrical, like her face had been cobbled together from spare parts.
Malaika Malter, the God Killer. I have heard of your passage through this land, from the animals, the wind, and the soil. And now you come to Baba Yaga's house.
I'm popular, what can I say? Most people call me Alice, if you would. I've come to make a trade.
Your hands drip with the blood of a god. Why would I treat with a murderer?
An old friend of yours, I think she said you know her as Zhenya, said you owe her a favor. She stayed behind in Novosibirsk to catch up with some old friends, but told me to tell you that your debt would be repaid if you heard me out.
Very well. Come in.
She gestured towards the door. I stepped forward before catching myself. I almost forgot one of the most important rules for dealing with fae, gods, and other eldritch weirdos. Before I go inside, can we agree to some basic hospitality?
You are not a fool then, human. Had you not asked, I would have flayed you alive the moment you stepped through my doorway. Nothing personal, just to make a point. There will be peace in this house. Let Velos and Erlich take she who breaks that peace.
Sounds good enough to me. I followed her through the doorway and discovered that the house was somewhat larger inside than its exterior would have suggested. Not like huge, but certainly noticeable. More fairy nonsense, I guess. The whole place was a shambles of various oddments and trinkets strewn about with neither rhyme nor reason. Amidst the mess, there was an open space for a table with 3 chairs and a kitchen area where a massive cast iron pot bubbled over a flame. Whatever she was cooking, it smelled amazing. A small goblin-like creature with a handlebar mustache, a servant, I assumed, wordlessly took my coat and placed it on a nearby rack. He gestured toward my bag, but I shook my head. It wouldn't do to part with my bargaining chip just yet. With a nod, the little fellow faded into the shadows. The old witch bade me sit at her table as she lurched over to the kitchen.
You have traveled far. Are you hungry? I have just finished preparing stew.
It doesn't have kids in it, does it?
I have long since lost my taste for the flesh of the young. I haven't cooked a child since Andropov ruled the land.
Look at you working on yourself.
It's pork.
I'm Jewish. Sorry to be a burden, but do you have anything kosher I could try instead?
The vegetables and the bread. Some of the bread.
I didn't ask further. Soon enough, she brought me a plate of potatoes and cabbage with a massive loaf of bread on the side. She poured herself a hearty bowl of stew before sitting down opposite me.
I owe you an apology on behalf of this land. Russia has not been kind to your people.
Thank you. Although, I guess to be fair, Russia hasn't been particularly kind to Russians either.
You amuse me, human. Before I treat with you, I would hear a story.
Anything in particular you want to hear? I've got a few.
Tell me of the path that led you to me.
You don't want to hear about the god I killed? Okay. The path that led me to you. I'm an engineer by training and a programmer by inclination, so I never really expected the whole paranormal thing to be more than a fun hobby. I can get a much safer and better paying job just about anywhere. So I was quite surprised when a Ms. Beaucoup contacted me personally to visit an old castle in France. Apparently a weirdo freak cult had been operating out of there for some years, but they'd all died or something and left behind a trove of occult materials. The regional government of Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes needed someone with both the computer skills to crack the cult's old hard drives and the supernatural experience to understand what might be in there, and it looked like I was perfect for the job. I stepped out of the car. We'd been driving through the pristine countryside for the last couple hours. Even in its semi-ruined state, the Château de Loren was a sight to behold. The ancient gray stone seemed almost like a part of the landscape, nature and artifice brought together into one whole. My guide Marceline smiled, her bright blue eyes glinting.
It has sadly fallen into disrepair, Mademoiselle Malter.
It's still fucking awesome. This place was built in the 16th century, right?
Yes and no. The chateau you see before you was built in 1501, but there was once a much older castle here. It is said that the original Château de Loren was a site of dark magic and violent death, and none mourned when it was destroyed. The newer castle was built from the bones of the old, and some say inherited its curse.
Marceline pulled a keychain out of her purse and clicked a button. To my surprise, the castle's massive old doors opened. The cult must have done some modernizing while they were there. I'd heard of this cult before, the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh, founded by a guy named Charles Plantard who got into ancient Egypt in the whitest way possible. He started calling himself Set Ra, which doesn't even make sense, and somehow didn't get laughed out of every room. Anyway, they did the usual cult shit with the weird sex stuff, alleged human sacrifice, yada, 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 until they had a schism about a year ago and both factions Jonestowned themselves. It was messy. The entrance hall was not nearly as lovely as the exterior. While modern lighting had been installed throughout, it did little to illuminate the place, as a pervasive feeling of dark grimness stifled the air. Some tables and chairs had been placed about seemingly at random, and most of them had been smashed. On the walls and even parts of the floor, there were paintings in varying quality and styles of wolves, dogs, and a strange fox-like creature with a pointed tail and erect ears. So, Mr. Set Ra was not a cat person.
You already know the most famous story about this place.
Do I?
Not long after the chateau was rebuilt, a vain young count inherited it from his father. He was a cruel, selfish man, and for his sins he was cursed to take the form of a monstrous beast. Alone, he lurked in these dark halls, with naught but guilt to sustain him. But one day, a beautiful young girl, pure of heart, was herself imprisoned here. Eventually, the two somehow fell in love. Through this, the Count was redeemed, and his humanity restored.
Beauty and the Beast. That's a fairy tale.
Where do you think this story came from?
Honestly, I thought it was some kind of Jungian archetype thing. I've heard some similar stories from different cultures, so even if that's true, that can't be the original.
Of course, how silly of me. It's just a local story we tell for the tourists.
She led me through the hall and into a beautiful library, largely free of destruction and paintings from the other hall. Books were stacked from floor to ceiling, ancient dusty tomes, more modern books presumably brought here by the cultists, and everything in between. A pile of old computer towers and discarded hard drives sat in the corner, just begging for me to dig in. I'm not gonna lie, I salivated. I wanted to sexually fuck this entire room. After I got the machine set up for my retrieval, Ms. Beaucoup departed to go call her superiors, leaving me to do my grim work in peace. I sort of lost track of time here. It could have been a few minutes, it could have been a few hours. I was in my element.
Ah, who the fuck?
And then a book hit me on the head. I looked around. There was nobody else in the room. Better not be another ghost. I looked down at the book itself. It was an early 20th century hardcover, lightweight, but still in pretty good condition after all this time. It had opened to a page displaying a woodcut of a massive slavering wolf. The Beast of Gaydon. Huh. This text is in English. Weird. From 1764 to 1767, this monstrous man-eating fiend is said to have slaughtered over 100 people in the French countryside. While the beast's true identity remains unresolved, some historians believe that... I trailed off. If nobody else was in the room, something must have cast it. A ghost, perhaps? And if that was the case, then perhaps it intended for me to see this particular page. Why? A quick web search showed that Gaydon was not too far south from the chateau I was currently in, so maybe the beast had something to do with... Hold on. Another thought popped into my head, unbidden. The chateau was supposed to be blocked off by the regional government. Why hadn't I seen anyone else here other than Marcy? Something growled. I jumped to my feet, my heart rate leaping even more quickly than my legs. It emerged from the library's shadows. A massive wolf. No, that's not quite right. It was wolf-like, but not like any wolf I'd ever seen. Its limbs were wrapped in sinewy muscles, and its paws were stretched out, almost like human hands. Its snout was tube-like, with front-facing nostrils, making the creature seem like a cross between a dog and a hellish aardvark. And then I noticed its eyes. They were bright blue, Marcy's eyes. Oh, fuck me. And so I bravely ran like hell. I fled the library and into the hall. The beast was nearly upon me, but instead of pouncing, she leapt over my head and bolted on ahead, blocking the front doorway. She turned around to face me, her mouth contorting into a mocking grin. Not a pleasant sight on a canine face, I'll tell you. The monster and I stared at each other for a moment. Okay, she could have killed me back there, but didn't want to just yet. She wanted to play with her food first. That seemed to be my main advantage here. That's the thing about cruel people, and in this case, werewolf things. They want to keep their prey alive long enough to wring out as much despair as possible before finishing them off. With any luck, I could use this against her. But first, I needed a weapon. And this entrance hall was desperately lacking in the suits of armor that TV told me any self-respecting castle should have lining every wall. So, time to run again. I bolted away, and the Marcy beast followed at a leisurely pace.
There's nowhere to go. You will be mine.
I stopped briefly to attempt to open another door. Locked. Damn. And so was the next one. So I kept running down the hallway, hoping to find something.
You really are a gullible fool, aren't you? You just accepted the job without question and walked right into my jaws. You actually believed that my name was Merci Beaucoup? It's a wonder you're still alive.
Stairs. Up or down? Fuck.
Down.
Cool. The intrusive thoughts are back.
I can help you.
A smart person would simply not listen to a voice in her head, So it's a good thing I'm a dipshit. Down it is.
Turn left.
Sure. I'll let a weirdo ghost voice GPS me through a medieval dungeon. What's the worst that could happen? After what could have been either seconds or hours, the voice led me into an old room filled with broken statues.
Close the door. I can confound the creature's senses long enough so that we can speak privately.
Okay, who the hell are you? My eyes were drawn to the one statue in the mess that hadn't been defaced or ruined. It was ancient, Egyptian by the look of it, depicting a man with a head of a vaguely canine animal with triangular ears and an aardvark-like snout. Oh, god damn it. You're set, aren't you?
Unfortunately, Horus trapped me inside this dreadful idol, the little shit. Some Roman idiot brought me here, I was buried, my dark power cursed the very soil of these lands, that whole sort of thing, you know. Have you ever been a statue for 2,000 years? I don't recommend it. My nose started to itch right before the spell took hold, and you'd think you could live with that after the first few centuries, but no, it actually gets worse.
You said you could help me?
Yes, if you help me first. You see, you're the only one who can free me.
You probably say that to all the girls. But I know your reputation. I'm not sure if releasing a sealed god of evil is a good idea.
Oh, I'm not in the mood for any of that. I just want to go outside again. See the things that other passing spirits have been telling me about for the last 2 millennia for myself. They say that you humans have sliced bread now? Is that true? I created that creature. Oh, don't look at me like that.
Set said after I looked at him like that.
I was desperate and needed an avatar. It went wrong, the vessel turned into a monster. It was such a waste of a perfectly good monkey. He met a girl, they had a child, the magic passed down their bloodline, driving some of the descendants into murderous insanity. You know how it is.
You made a beast? Like the beauty and the beast of Gaydon?
We all make mistakes. At least let me fix mine.
Marcy stood up on her hind legs, staring down at me with hate burning in her eyes.
You're so boring, little morsel. It's time to end our little game.
I knew what I had to do. I could live with the consequences. I grabbed Set's idol. Fetch! You know how you can see a flash of light? Well, what happened was like that, but like opposite. A flash of darkness? I don't know. I'm workshopping this. Anyway, things went dark for a second, and then Set stood before me. He had the same dog aardvark head as the statue, absolutely ripped muscles, and thank God he was wearing pants.
Gaydon!
I'd like to say this was the first time I got completely carried with monster blood, but Mama didn't raise a liar. It is extremely unpleasant.
I created you, and I have unmade you.
Set then started scratching his nose furiously. I couldn't blame him. So you're free now, Set. I hope I won't regret this later.
I'm a god of chaos. What could be more fitting than letting you live?
I genuinely can't tell if that was a compliment or an insult.
Yes. I will also leave you with another gift. There is a question that plagues you, driving at the very heart of your being. A condition that you only recently discovered when you killed one of my brethren.
You kill one god, for fuck's sake. Look, I'm sorry about that, but...
Oh, I don't care. That guy was an asshole. And coming from me, that says something. I know of something that may help point you toward the answers you seek.
He leaned closer and told me. When he finished, I raised an eyebrow. That sounds like a long shot. Does that thing even still exist?
There is one copy of it in full. In the deep forests of Russia, the Baba Yaga keeps it in her collection. Bring her something she wants, and she should be willing to make a trade.
Thank you. I don't suppose you have any ideas about what I should bring her.
You're clever. You'll figure it out.
I was alone. I stayed in the chateau long enough to finish extracting everything I could from the hard drives. No reason to let some good data go to waste, after all. But now I had a new mission, to find a suitable present for the witch who has everything.
So, that is how Seth returned from his imprisonment. You are a bold one indeed.
I did what I had to do. So, can we talk business now, or what? I gave you your story.
You are impetuous, child.
Lady, please understand how crazy racist it is to call a grown black woman child. I am begging you. So I'm looking for a book.
I have little use for written words.
But this one might be an exception. The Hamadani Codex. I'll interrupt my story here to dump some history on you, like the Dave Matthews Band tour bus on an unsuspecting boat cruising down the Chicago River. Rashid al-Din Hamadani's Jami al-Tawarikh was the first true world history, weaving a tapestry from every people and culture that medieval Persia had come into contact with. The Jami had 3 volumes, the first 2 of which discussed conventional history, with the now-lost 3rd book allegedly being about geography. Those more clued in to the occult and conspiratorial know that the lost volume was so much more than that. Rashid al-Din wrote a comprehensive account of the world's real history, of the past eras of man, the rise and the fall of gods, and the machinations of the cabals. The Illuminati attempted to destroy every copy, and aside from a few fragments of text, they are believed to have succeeded. I knew better.
What makes you think I have this book you seek?
Our mutual buddy Jenya. She was in Iran in 1722 when Peter the Great seized the codex from a local magistrate's private collection. I also happen to know that almost 40 years later, Peter III traded several of his grandfather's treasures to you in exchange for your services, one of which was apparently a Persian book.
Piotr wanted to be Tsar and for Russia to rise to new heights of glory. For the former, I cursed his predecessor to die and leave him the throne. For the latter, I cursed him to have a short reign, allowing Ekaterina to rule in his stead.
Babs, what the fuck?
It is my nature. Piotr wished for a powerful Russia, and I made it so. I have the book you seek. But I am not one to idly part with my treasures. What do you have to offer me in return?
I think you're gonna love this. I offer you a nice egg in this trying time.
A Fabergé egg? I have less use for such a thing than I do for the book.
Oh, but I think you'll like this one. See, this isn't a normal Fabergé egg. The House of Fabergé made this one on a special custom order from an unknown client. We had a devil of a time tracking this down, let me tell you. We had to fight our way through a popobawa nest in Zanzibar to get it, and those guys are nasty. Apparently, Fabergé's mysterious customer had this sent as a gift to Tipu Tip. History's crazy,
You
huh?
are starting to bore me.
Hospitality. Okay. Anyway, I know you're gonna love this egg, Babs. See, it's what's inside the egg that really matters. It's very folkloric, which you would appreciate. It's a funny little thing, you see. It has to be kept inside an egg, which in turn must be hidden on an island far, far away. At some point, this egg was also kept inside a duck, which in turn was somehow stuffed inside a hare. Does this ring any bells to you?
You are joking.
I assure you, I'm not. Your old buddy, Koshé the Deathless. Now, word on the street is that you and Koshé had a bit of a falling out a while back. And now the old boy wants your head. I suppose you're fortunate that Russia is such a big country. You probably had to move around quite a bit to stay out of K-Man's way. I don't blame you. He's big and a scary guy. That's sort of his Freudian nightmare. Now, don't let me put words into your mouth here, but I imagine that having the only means to kill a famously unkillable stalker might be appealing to you.
Koshé's soul for the book, you say?
I will indeed give you the egg. Also, this is a limited time offer. See, Koshé is on his way here right now.
You're lying.
Maybe, maybe not. I could be full of shit. I could also have placed a little GPS tracker somewhere in this cottage when you weren't looking. Only one way to find out.
Very well, Malaika Alice Malter.
The goblin guy with the mustache from earlier appeared behind her, carrying a heavy tome bound in emerald.
The book for the egg.
The little guy held up the book and opened it, displaying a few pages to show that it was the genuine article. I gave him a nod after I had a chance to examine the merchandise, and he placed it on the table. I handed him the egg without a comment.
It is done. You may take your prize.
Cool. Now, you shouldn't have any trouble from Koshe once he gets here.
What is this? This is not a soul. It is plastic. It is pink. Did you give me a toy?
Isn't he cute? That's Frankenfruity.
What?
He's just a little monster who loves artificially flavored strawberry breakfast cereal. A collector's item. You'll love him.
Where is the soul?
Koshe has it. The witch stood up, and I could feel dark magic congealing through the air. Her servant was nowhere to be seen.
How dare you?
Now hold on before you start with the magic. Can we agree that this was a great hustle? Look, Koshe isn't coming. He's old and tired and just wants to pick the time and manner of his death. So I gave him the soul. But I still needed something to trade you, so I brought the egg. Please be aware that I never promised you the soul, but I did specify that I would give you the egg.
And this toy?
Honestly, I just thought that would be fucking funny. Besides, that one has a defect. He's supposed to be smiling like normal, but there was a goof in the manufacturing, so he's making a little lopsided grin. See that? There's like 5 of these guys on the planet. He's literally worth more than a small island on the collector's market. See? Way better than some dude's soul.
I concede defeat to you, Malaika Alice Malter. But now I tire. Be on your way.
What? That's it? No last challenge? No swearing revenge?
Do you want me to?
No. This is fine. Just surprised is all.
I am old, God Killer, and cannot play games as I used to. But what a blessing and a curse to have met you.
Oh, you flatter. I'm not that cool.
Your coming has been rent into the foundations of this world since the beginning. Zoroaster called you Angra Mainyo. John of the Patmos knew you would be the rider of the pale horse. Othin, hanging on the tree, saw you as the wolf Garmer.
I also got 2nd place in my 5th grade spelling bee. Is that anything?
The Red Queen shall ascend the pyramid, and there make her a dominion, and she will be named Urizen, enemy of the world.
Well, I don't know what that means, but it was nice doing business with you, Babs. See you next time I'm in the area, I guess. I turned around. The house with the chicken legs was no longer there. Instinctively, I patted my bag to make sure the book hadn't been left behind. Good. It was still there. I looked at my bike. My jacket had been placed on it, neatly folded. Huh, that was nice. As I rode back off towards the nearest city, one word hovered in my mind. Urizen.
Malaika was written by Émile Lewis and produced by Kimberly Dauber. The Wolf, the Witch, and the Audacity of This Bitch featured Tooky Kavanagh as Malaika Alice Malter, Jenny Gutbezahl as the Baba Yaga, Olivia Keane as Marcy Beaucoup, and Émile Lewis as Set. Our theme song was composed by Denver Gaydon, and our episode artwork was created by Echobows with animation by Loren Sherman. Special thanks to Jabari, Shatara, Tiffani, Tionge, and the lesbians from the group chat. For more information about the show, check out hearmeoutproductions.com/Malaika or search for Malaika Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Malaika is produced in loving memory of Annika Lewis. And as always, conspirators, vade in umbras, salta in lucem. Created by Hear Me Out Productions. All we have are dreams.
And a microphone.